All right, welcome. Let's call the Dunn County Facilities meeting to order at 5 o'clock. We are in the Dunn County Center, room 60. So call of the roll. We are all here except for Supervisor Score, but he'll probably arrive shortly. So third on the agenda is approval of the previous meeting minutes. Has everyone had a chance to read those? I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
So Supervisor Lyon makes the motion to approve last month's, or actually December's meeting minutes, and seconded by Supervisor Prochnow. All right, any discussion? All right, so all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. All right, so it passes unanimously. So public comment or the discussion later on. So 5 items placed at the request of the chair. There is none. So that leads us to number 6, which is staff and recreation reports. So is someone here from Red Cedar Racing?
What's that?
We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, was wondering if there's someone here from Red Cedar Racing with their schedule? Or is,
Yeah,
I didn't see it in the packet.
we can,
Move
we
that.
see if Johnny shows up, and then we can do fair board in my report if we wait,
Okay,
while we wait for him.
all right, so we'll delay 6A and move on to 6B. So are you doing the fair?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Austin's handling it all.
Just a quick fair board update, it's state wrestling, so the fair board president is taking care of that. And not too many moving parts with the fair this past month. And we're looking forward to it and have some cool surprises and confirmations that'll get voted on Monday night. Only a few days from now, and then I'll have a lot more to report next month. But
All right, so then, anyone have any questions? Quick and short. So 6C, so facilities and parks.
there's 54 pages of information on the packet, so this is going to be a little bit shorter on the operations report from facilities with a lot more on the docket for tonight. Just a few things: operations, projects, fleet, and monthly financial report through 2 months here. And I talked about this in the county board meeting that most of you were in a few weeks ago, but very fresh team for years of service to facilities. We're very happy to report that we have our admin specialist onboarded from finance department down into our facilities department, and she's a couple weeks in now. Kim's done a great job, and she's all aboard for taking on some of the fair board treasurer roles and has some experience on that side of things. So very excited and happy to have the extra help. Brady's happy to have the extra help, and instead of treading water moving forward in our department. Current projects, the Judicial Center RFP for the HVAC system that was released in early December. Proposals due March 3rd, so that's Monday. And then after that, we'll be reviewing them and evaluate the proposals. Thank you to the judicial team, Ron and Todd, for keeping that system running through the cold weeks of the winter on its last lap. Other projects, Judicial Center carpet, that's in the packet as a 2025 carry forward request. On the NDC side, floor trim, a new sign and water to water boilers, part of the 2025 carry forward through all 3 buildings. Government Center pavement for the lower west level, and depending on what we need for patching and repairing versus replacing, that money might be able to be stretched a bit further with doing chip seal on some of the other lots for preventative maintenance, and maybe a little bit of work on the road between the neighbors and the Government Center, that driveway that is not in great shape either. Then the Caddy Woodlawn house roof is another one of those 2025 carry forwards. Those with the 2026 CIPs that the county board has on the docket for facilities are on the list. This was a cool project, an opportunity that was asked for help from Land and Zoning for facilities at some of these boat landings on Tanner Lake for the zebra mussels and spray off stations, and finding a way to efficiently do it in pretty rural boat landings. So we have some cool prototypes that we're looking into that are cost effective enough that we might not have to go out for grant money for it. And if we can make a good enough prototype that could be recreated, we could go out for grant money with it. So that's coming in the next few months as well. On the fleet side, we met with Enterprise 3 or 4 times this last fall for our trucks, plow trucks. And there's a body style change coming in 2027 to all of those pickups, and none of our plow mounts that's when our lease is up, would be 2027 next year. And all of our plow mounts for our Boss plows will not switch over. So we did the math, and with renewing this lease 1 year early, the total net lease impact is $55 a month, or $657 annually between 5 vehicles, versus waiting 1 year to 2027. Per unit is around $2,200 to $3,200 for new plow mounts, 7 to 9% redesign increase, which is an extra $2,700 to $3,500 per truck, and some unknowns with potential tariffs on that. So a total extra cost of $500 to $6,500 on increase per unit. So to do it now over a 5-year span was $3,200 of an increase, $657 on an annual basis, versus $25,000 to $32,000 to wait a year to the redesign, with us being able to reuse these plow mounts. So that's the long-winded version of doing this with this lease now versus a year from now. Our annual budget for the facilities vehicles is $45,000 for the leases, and we're right at that $42,000. So we still have about a $3,000 buffer with a $600 annual total increase to that. So pretty big difference by just a small decision here. So, and the highway department has expressed interest in our nice vehicles when they're going to get returned to the fleet management program, about going that route potentially and buying them versus going out to bid.
How many trucks do we have for plowing snow?
We have currently 5, and we are going in that top line. We're moving from one of the 2,500s to a 1,500, and we're keeping a spare plow unmounted.
And we use them about 8,000 miles a year? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, give or take, some a little less.
So what's the lease payment on that?
These about $450, 5, somewhere in there. I have the exact whole spreadsheet if you'd like me to send it to you.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I mean, like with highway, we can buy those vehicles so cheap. I don't understand why we're leasing them. We can get those off of the Wisconsin website a lot cheaper. I just was curious to how that penciled out.
Yeah, this,
I know we went back to a lease years ago and I
Mhm.
still don't understand that because when you can buy them on the government website so cheap, why are we leasing things that just seems cheaper to buy?
this predates,
This predates me, so I don't.
predates me.
I was at the county. I was not in this role at that point in time, but I do recall conversations about the cost to maintain the vehicles and keep them running.
You
But
gotta maintain them if they're leased or bought. That doesn't really matter in
I
3
think with
years.
the lease agreement, though, there's service involved there to some degree. But
Well, they're under warranty if you
It's the
buy them.
warranty.
So, I mean, the warranty is the warranty and
Yeah.
the lease is the lease. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a huge difference in between those two things, but I mean,
Yeah,
I just think it's worth taking a look at. Cause I know what we can buy them and that's why we buy them at the
mm-hmm,
highway. We don't lease them.
mm-hmm.
Well, we don't lease because it's so much cheaper to buy them, especially under the state contracts that we can get those trucks for, you know, less than 40,000. So I'm just curious if we can look into it.
It's good. And currently the fleet that we have isn't under, okay, Red Cedar Racing is not able to make it tonight. Is, not on a online app or program, so there's ways with the same pre and post trip that I use at the bus, for the buses, that can be uh, brought on to for the other fleet vehicles that we have, our fleet as well as the fleet that DHS and the other county departments use. And these other areas of Dunn County, you can filter it so they don't see buses for doing pre-trips or stuff like that. So that was an idea we had for coming down the pipeline. And then monthly financial report. This will be probably the last time you see a screenshot like this. And we're almost through February, other than one payroll cycle to hit here on Friday. But other than that, close to 20% to the good through 2 months. In central transportation, a lot of those costs were just the annual or twice a year, whatever that may be for the insurance cost. So a pretty front end every January is one of the main bills for that comes in. That is the operations or facilities for tonight.
Did anyone have questions? Supervisor Bjork?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Madam Chairman. My question goes to the geothermal project that's in the works. And we got a one sentence update today. And it just seems like with a multi-million-dollar project, we ought to be getting a little more information. 'Cause have we even talked about it since November? About, I assume, what is the RHP? Is that the,
The request for proposal,
so
that
how
was,
many requests for proposals and?
we have two, or, I mean, it seemed like,
We don't have any.
no, we don't have any yet. It's due on Monday. We've taken a few different tours with different interested parties over the period of the last 3 months through that center, through the judicial center on tours. We've had two different groupings of questions that we've answered that are on the RFP or on the VendorNet website that we've uploaded back to that. Other than that, most of the updates will come when this is done, when the deadline hits on Monday.
When your
So-
informational meetings are taking place, as you stated, is the chair of facilities there? Or what involvement does facilities have in knowing what's going on? I mean, I just think it's how many $1 million are we looking at?
9.5.
9.5.
Pardon me?
So
9.5.
$9.5 million.
Supervisor Beal,
And,
like,
pardon me?
oh, go ahead.
What did he say? Am I out of
I was-
order?
No, you could finish.
No.
What was your?
Oh, well, I just thought that somebody from facilities committee should be part of your walkthrough discussions and things like that. I mean, isn't that our job to oversee what's going on a little bit? And instead of just not even being invited?
These walkthroughs that we're doing right now, they were just looking at the building to figure out a design. They're not, all we are doing is escorting them through the building. We're not answering questions. It's literally just escorting them through the building. They're taking pictures, they're doing videos, things like that.
Who is they?
The companies that are involved.
Well,
So,
I just think that it's been a long time since the go-ahead was given to continue work on this. And the chair or anybody else, Mr. Prochnow or
so Supervisor
we're
Bjork, if I
we're
could.
we're elected to see I guess the reason I'm asking, people have asked me what's going on with the project. And I have to say, I don't know. They haven't told us anything for 3 months.
So Dan was gonna.
Okay.
Sounds like he has an answer.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess the role of the committee is to advise staff that we can move forward with the update of the HVAC system within that. Additionally, you would allocate the funding through the budget process and the full board would do that. And then you're asking staff to be able to implement that using the knowledge and expertise that exists in staff. Now, in addition to that, we are at a phase with the RFP where we are in a kind of a silent phase where we don't talk about it. And that is to make sure that we're not giving any additional information to one vendor over another. So that's a part of the reason why since the budget was adopted in November and we released the RFP, where we haven't provided any additional information outside of that information that is posted publicly with the RFP. You'll hear Austin as they're talking, not providing the names of the vendors because that's not something that we would provide during this phase. Once those RFP requests come in, we will then evaluate the RFP, identify the lowest bidder, as is the rule, which is part of the state law as we do that. And then we are going to run that by the facilities committee and the county board for approval before we move forward. That is not an official part of our process, but that is something that we have told this committee and the full board that we would do before we made a final decision on that. Now, that being said, we also would need to borrow that money. And so that will be a vote that happens with the board. But for the most part, board members are not part of the purchasing process, specifically not one individual, because that those decisions need to be made by the whole.
Is there a process if we don't get any responses on Monday?
We would, if we don't get any responses, we would likely reach out to the individuals that had shown some interest to see if an extension or other things could be done in order to do that. If not, we would have to cancel that RFP and we would post the new one.
Because you can't extend it. It's at a
We could
certain
extend.
time.
We
You
could extend it. In fact, this one has been extended.
Oh, okay. All right, any other questions? So, oh, go ahead.
So how's, the bids have to be in Monday. I mean, how soon is this committee gonna meet and discuss any of that stuff?
So the committee wouldn't discuss them. There'd be the facilities group, as well as I think you have some other subject matter experts that would be evaluating the criteria,
Right.
and then the lowest bidder is chosen. It's different. I know you've been on the highway committee. The highway committee has different statutory requirements in how they do that, but that is very specific to the highway committee.
So do we still have the right to reject any bids though? Or if that's a low bid, you gotta take it, doesn't matter what.
We have to pick the low bid as is state law.
And there's no
Assuming they are
recourse for
qualified.
rejecting everything.
So they have to be the lowest qualified bidder. So if you identify one or the other or both bidders as not qualified, you could eliminate them. However, you would need to, justify that. If you did want to not move forward with the project, you always have the ability to do that. The RFP process identifies the lowest qualified bidder. It does not sign a contract. So we identify that person and then we go into contract negotiations related to that.
No, I just think that's what Larry is trying to get to, is if it's just a done deal, or if there's actually a process that it could be thrown away yet. I don't know.
Yeah,
But, you know, so-
it 100% does, is the board would have to vote on the borrowing.
Yeah.
And if we don't borrow the money for it, we're not going to do that. But like I said, we plan on bringing it to the full board to say, this is the bid that we've received and are moving forward with, and this is how much it is. Do you want us to keep going? Again, that's not a part of our purchasing ordinance, but as Supervisor Bjork brought up, this is $9.5 million. So
It's
it
important.
doesn't hurt to have an additional openness to that. But that would be the intent, is likely in April or May meeting, we would be seeing what that looks like.
All right, any other follow-up questions about the reports? Okay, so then we'll move on to 7A, so Red Cedar Racing cannot make it. Is it possible that they can send it, and can we approve it via email or at the next meeting?
They don't have it in the packet either.
No, it wasn't in the packet. So, so table it till next meeting. Okay. And then 7B is the discussion and decision on sale or rental of Dunn County land next to the transfer station. So, Jim, are you going to speak to that?
I'll speak to it, but I gave you probably a too detailed report because I had a lot of struggles with this one. It was actually, I put November 2025, I actually found, 2025, but I actually found my phone note. It was December 3rd of 2025 when I got a call from Roe Weidenberg inquiring about purchasing the land. Well, this all predates me. I only, when I started, barely touched upon the transfer station. I did the deed and the finalizing of it. But so I checked into a lease and I looked high, low, and everywhere in between, and I could not find a signed lease. After I'd already started the report, then I just mentioned it to Chase, my frustration with it, and he found the blank one that I have in the file there, which I believe is probably or pretty close to what the lease was. It just so happens that lease, if it is the one, would expire at the end of 2025 anyway. So we'd be looking to sign a new lease if we went that route. I spoke with Justin Merritt because I didn't know Jeff Merritt existed at the time. Or I sent him a letter and he called me back. And he expressed that he'd really like to just keep, the lease agreement going. But if we decided to sell it, he'd like to have an opportunity to bid on the property as well. And really what I'm seeking is just some direction. I don't have the authority to sell anything. for Dunn County. And I want to know which direction to go in this particular question. I did check when I was trying to figure out the lease, I checked with finance and they didn't have a copy of it, but they did confirm that the payment's been dutifully made going back to 2018. So we have been receiving about $3,000 a year every year for it, which I did actually check the USDA, and that's about the fair price for farmland in the area. So if you have specific questions, I'll do my best to answer those. But really, I just want to know which path you want me to go on, sale or not sale.
And so we were approached not by the person who bought the transfer station.
That is correct. He reached out on December 3rd of 2025.
Okay.
Out of the blue. I had no idea it was coming, obviously.
Okay.
But he just inquired about purchasing it. And that's when I contacted the property owner for the area around that 20 acres. And then, and I did ask the Merritts if they had a copy of the lease, and their answer was they do not have a copy of that lease. Either at least they can't locate it.
All right. So,
Can you speak? Okay.
what
That's-
is that?
That's your,
Okay,
that's your
that's my decision. Yeah, if you would like to come up to the podium and state your name and address.
My name is Jeff Merritt. Justin, my nephew, he's the one that the county purchased land. He just came on Zoom. He lives over in Appleton, Wisconsin. My address is E3510, Highway 29, Menominee. And we've been renting it, from, I bought it originally in '88. And then I sold it to Justin and been leasing it back from him, and then the county bought it. It is really good land. I would like to keep leasing it. And so, but then I thought we were paying what the price they wanted for it was $3,000 and for the year. So it would be it's good farmland. And I would like to keep leasing it, and so that's about all more I can say about it.
All right, thank you. So I'd open it up. I have thoughts, but I'd open it up to the rest of the supervisors to hear what others' thoughts are about whether to keep leasing or sale or. Anyone have thoughts? I can speak mine first, but I'd
That's
rather.
okay. Let get
Oh,
it.
okay. Supervisor Prognow.
Does anybody know what we paid for it in the first place?
I did not see that in the file, and I got a box from, actually from Tom, that, from the former division that doesn't exist anymore that ran the transfer station. I did not see a sale price for it in that file.
Okay, it's a long time ago. That's all
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't around, so. I guess I'm not against selling it. But it is I guess a prime piece of property. And farmland isn't cheap. That's what I can tell you. I mean, if you want to know numbers, I can say those too, but, let Larry talk.
Supervisor Bjork. Did you?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I know and respect both parties here big time. And my opinion kind of falls down along the lines of they're not making any more land. And you know, kind of hypocritical because, you know, I probably have my farm today because I took advantage of the fact that Walmart built a distribution center 7 miles from my farm. And that was good land also. And so that land, you know, generated pickup trucks, blacktop, roofs, house improvements, and everything else with, having a business of sort, take that land and not produce grain or alfalfa, but it produces all the things that I've mentioned. So, and I've been everywhere where I've seen fantastic farmland go to blacktop. And all you have to do is, if you really want to see how things kind of can get out of whack, is take I-88 or 90 south of Rockford, hit 88, head to Chicago, and you all have heard the name DeKalb for a conglomerate seed company. There's a town called DeKalb, and ALC Harvester had a plant there, and but it's flat table ground, good drainage, everything anybody would want. But the high bidder, has decided to, put down blacktop and provide those jobs that I spoke of that I benefited from. What went in along County Trunk B. So I can see the value of both ways in, and I'm not saying that this land would be put into blacktop parking lot or whatever. It could go for anything. You put it on the open market, you don't know where it's going to go. But if somebody says to me, that's really good land, and my family's made a living from that land, and we like to continue, so I would have to lean in their direction. So they're not making any more. I'm sorry I'm so roundabout, but it's just, it's in my head.
Thank you. Anyone else have? Oh, go ahead, Tom.
Thank you. Just to respond to Supervisor Prochno's question about the land value. So I was able to look up the warranty deed when that was transferred. It was recorded June 26th of 2017 from Justin Merritt to Dunn County. And the transfer fee, you can work that backwards. So the fee that was paid was $525. So if we divide that by 0.003, the sale price would have been $175,000. And there's 20 acres. So the price per acre would have been $87.50. If that helps.
Go ahead, Supervisor Score.
Well, if I look at this picture here, we own just, what, 3/4 of that field? And then the rest of it's someone else owns? Oh, okay,
Yep, I own the rest of it.
all right. And I own land and I have people rent cropland to me, and I think that's a wonderful idea.
Okay, thank you. You have any thoughts, Supervisor Lyon?
Why didn't why did the county purchase the whole thing? I mean, because there's obviously more cultivated field there. Or did they just want a straight 20 for possible future expansion? That was kind of my understanding of why that was purchased in the first place. Can somebody answer that?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
I can attempt. I was here at the time, working with Morgan Girk, our solid waste and recycling director, and I remember negotiations with the Merritts on this. Um, I think 20 acres was a good number, and it's also a number where a certified survey map wouldn't be required anytime you create a new parcel 20 acres or greater. We could avoid, not that we're avoiding, but it didn't need to go through a review by the town of Menominee and other hurdles. So I think it was the right size, and if we made it 20, then we could not, I guess we could avoid the other extra steps in the review process. That would be my best guess on that.
Yeah, this is Justin Merritt, by the way, Jeff's nephew. I'm just going to chime in. I think that there's probably some technical reasons there. So I guess that would ring true. It's a while ago that this happened. I think, the whole premise of the sale was Morgan Girk like painted a picture to me where the county needed land for expansion of the recycling, and this was the most obvious place. It was right next door, would cause the least disruption to everything, et cetera, et cetera. So kind of painted that picture where this made total sense, which, that also came into it from my perspective. It's like, why carve up more land, if you just do something like that. So that, and then, now that picture doesn't exist anymore, right? And it's farmland again, which I support, by the way. Rather than me buy it back, I'd rather just keep having someone farm it.
I have another question about, I seem to recall in my years of covering Dunn County Board that there was sort of a general focus on trying to maintain as much farmland as possible. It's kind of like one of the primary focuses when it comes to, development and making sure that our development is appropriate, for housing and, the location for housing and things like that. So that's still the case, isn't it?
You might be, Tom might be able to speak to this more in depth, but I know that the Planning Resources and Development Committee is actively going through the process of developing a comprehensive plan, updating the existing one. So I think it's to be determined.
Okay, so that's okay. I guess my other question is, I guess probably for the person who wants to buy the land, Earl Wildenberg, I mean, what are his plans for it? Calling him to tell us that? Why do you want to buy the land, Earl?
Need the one up front.
I can talk on this one. Well, I was thinking about leasing part of it back, because I also farm some ground on my own. But that would tie in good with the recycling stuff. And I have that very well occupied right now, that building. And I would need that for an overrun for some vehicles and that kind of thing. And I feel that, and I understand what you're talking about, they don't make any more land and all this kind of stuff. That's a given. But I did ask, when I bought the transfer station, I did ask about if that was available, and I wasn't given a clear answer other than it was leased at the time. And I said, I would sure like to have an opportunity, and I still want to have an opportunity. And I like the transfer station that was put out for bids. You can do it however you want and put yourself a minimum on it and then make it fair. Because to be pushed into just a farming activity, I don't think that's right. Because I was born and raised on a farm, and I own land in 2 different states besides Wisconsin. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if anyone knows the answer to this question, but is this 20 acres, if we ever wanted to get back into the solid waste and recycling, is this big enough to reopen a transfer station? I think we had that question, that the current, like the old one was not large enough, but, so I don't know if anyone knows that answer, but
I believe it was determined that that would not be enough land, and where it wouldn't necessarily be feasible anymore with regulation changes. And a correct rate there.
How much, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, if we're gonna sell it, how much is it worth? Anyone know that? Well, I know,
Well.
I think the supervisor score, I think the question here as Corp Council had brought up is, we're really asking the committee to tell us whether we should even go after this. So it's a question of, do you want to sell the land? Or would you like to maintain the rental agreement and not have us pursue any sort of a sale in one way or another? So we don't know that value, and we don't want to pay to be able to find out that value until we know that this committee is in favor of either sale or no.
okay, well, just putting it out there. Okay, go ahead, sir.
What I was going to say, I do have that facility, the transfer station. I do have that remediated quite well. Put new doors in it, put the water and sewers up to par, and I'm getting the truck scale organized right now. Because I have a steel stored there that's used for my business down south of Menominee. Got several 100,000 pounds of stainless in there, and I'd like to keep it secure, and I have been keeping it secure, and it's what we're doing. Thank you.
My thought is, it's in an odd location, but, but potentially there may be down the road some use, and it would be probably more expensive to buy it in the future. So my thought is just keep renting it until we know for sure we don't want to ever use it again, but that's my thought. Any others? Did you have? No.
I'd make a motion.
I don't know. Well, do we need a motion or just whether we want to rent or sell? Is that, yep, that's what we're. Mhm.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we not consider selling the land and continue on a rental agreement that has worked out fine for us in the past. And then keep an asset of Dunn County part of Dunn County.
For a second. Does that mean we need a different motion, or is it? All right, Supervisor Score seconds. Any further discussion? All right, well then Supervisor Lyman.
So I have another question. Is it possible to sell part of the adjacent land to Earl and keep the rest in, in a farm lease? I don't know. I guess that's something I'm kind of curious about. How much land does he require, the entire 20 acres, or? you know.
Are there?
And I guess I would want to know, you know, how much he's prepared to play. But I don't know if that's a question I can ask.
I think we'd have to put it,
Yeah, I mean, it would have
Out
to,
to bid, and we'd
it would
have
have
to-
to be a bid for, it would
Yeah.
have to be a bid, you know.
and I don't know, are
Yeah,
there,
I don't know if we want to go there.
are there acreage minimums that we can split it up? Right.
If you're going to lease, I think you can hear me, but if you're going.
No, it has to, they have
I
to
see,
be
I see.
recorded.
If you're going to lease it, could I have the opportunity to lease it as well? I would sign that deal if we could do that.
How do we manage that?
It's-
I guess
Well,
we have to have
it-
a bidding lease.
Oh, yeah, we still have a vote.
We're just a discussion.
Yeah, of the motion.
Right. I mean, yeah, if we're gonna rent it out, I mean, I think we gotta put it out for bids on rent, just like we do everything else. I don't think we just, I don't know if the original agreement had it just for them or what the deal was, but it seems like it's kind of murky. But I definitely, if we're gonna rent it out, it has to be put out for bids. I mean. And then as far as a term, I think that has to be figured out too. So.
Supervisor Bjork?
And when you rent something, I don't really think that you can have a caveat on how the properties, or maybe you can, how the property is to be used.
It has to be within the zoning.
Zoning, say.
Does that change our motion? Well, because it's whether we want to lease it or buy it. Okay, and so we have.
Oops, sorry.
Yep, we have a motion.
I take notes. Just because that's what I did. Basically Larry was saying, you know, we don't want to sell, we want to continue the lease. But I think that would probably need to be amended to, you know, put it out for a lease because the lease is up at this point. So.
We need an amended motion, or can we do a friendly amendment that the motion is to lease the property?
I think it's best that you do just if somebody wants to make that amendment to do that, friendly amendments are not technically a thing.
I would still make the friendly amendment.
No, you have to make a
Oh.
full amendment.
Oh, okay. I want to make a friendly amendment to not sell the property, but put it out for bid for lease. Does that work, Dan?
A motion.
A motion.
A motion, yes.
Is there a second? For the amendment.
Second.
Okay, Supervisor Score seconds. All right, any further discussion, or we can vote on the amendment to the amendment. The motion is to amend the current motion to make it to not sell the land, but to lease it out and put it out for bid. All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Larry, Supervisor Bjork says no to that motion. So it does pass. The amendment passes. So do we have to go back to the original motion then? Okay, so the amendment, so now, so is that the amended motion, or are we back to the original?
I'm so
Is it
confused,
passed? The amendment passed.
So no-
Okay,
yeah,
so
so
the
now you-
original with the amendment. Okay,
correct.
all right, which is basically the same motion. So it's a motion to not sell but lease and put out to bid. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so Supervisor Bjork said no. Oh, and 2 noes. Okay, so does that? Well, I said aye, so 3
It
to,
passed 3-2.
okay. Okay. All right, so that passed. So how does it get put out? Or how do you negotiate that lease?
So we will kind of take that back as staff and we'll come back with a proposal about how we want to go forward with that process at the next facilities committee.
Okay,
And
all right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right. So then we go to 8A, which is approval of county-owned land use plan. Does anyone have any clarifying questions? All right, so we have the color up on the screen.
Okay, that's 4.
Yep. Would someone like to make a motion and then we can have further discussion?
I move approval of the county-owned land use plan.
Ryan and then Prochnow. So now does anyone have questions or discussion?
Supervisor Vogel, could I speak to it a little bit?
Yes, please go ahead.
So I put this plan together and it's to hopefully avoid a whole lot of back and forth as it relates to the land around the county campus. And so that's really what you see as a map there. The other piece of this is we were having discussions around the childcare facility. We were made aware of a resolution that had been approved by the board back in I think like
1998.
20, was it 1998?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which actually the board put a moratorium on the sale of what was the old county hospital land. Since that time, the sale to Prevea, which is now Oakleaf, had happened. Technically shouldn't have been done unless a plan had been developed for the county-owned land. So the intent around this is to provide a summary of the types of uses that the board would entertain for these lands. I like to say it gives me a little bit of guidance in if somebody were to ask me about, hey, could I buy that land? I have some additional information that I know that yes, in general, the county is in favor of this as long as it's for these purposes. So then I know I can engage with that person in a potential sale rather than bring it back to the committee. The other part is that moratorium on sale said that we can't do that until the county adopts a plan. So this is the plan that would meet the requirements of that 1998 resolution. And so I can go over that a little bit. You can see the area in blue there is called agricultural reserved undeveloped. That land is in an airport zone 2 zoning overlay, which has a lot of restrictions on it. The land is actually zoned residential. That airport overlay does not allow residential property. The way city zoning works, then it kind of falls back to its lowest level, which would be agriculture. So there's also and Tom, you'd have to help me with this, but I know there's a height restriction, some sort of overlay that is over that land as well. So it's limited in what can be done there. And then we have the areas in green. Those are areas that we've looked at that we think are a potential of we could see some additional county government growth happen in those areas. I can't tell you what that is or anything. I don't know what that is, but just from the proximity of that land and access, it seems like areas would make sense for us to expand to. And then we have the red areas, which we've had multiple discussions around, which are areas that we believe would be or could be made available for commercial development that would have a significant value associated with them with their access to the highway. So that's kind of how the basics of that plan. And as you scroll through it, you'll see the different uses that I had put together as, and that's me putting information out there to say, from what I've heard in the past, these are the types of uses that I feel like the committee would be in favor of.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Supervisor Lyon.
Dan, on this multicolored map, am I looking at this correctly that the city of Menominee owns what's in blue?
No.
We own.
Yeah, we own all of that land. The city of Menominee owns that little cutout, that weird little cutout there. But
Off
everything
Stoughton
that's
Parkway?
colored in, yeah,
That one. Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
that little
Got
area
it.
is owned by the city. The rest of everything that's colored in, the county currently owns.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Supervisor Bjork?
Mr. Dunbar, did the federal government in some of their last legislation pass rules and regulation or programming that if employers provide childcare, that they get a tax break of some sort? And if they do, would the county own properties between here and Menominee? If an organization, if let's just say across the road at Anderson or West Wisconsin or anybody else, would they be eligible? Have you any knowledge on eligible on any tax savings that the federal government made available?
Yeah, so the state government just passed some changes related to benefits for companies that invest in childcare. They used to be at their current, well, I don't know if it fully went through the state, but I know it got approved by at least the assembly. Current laws allowed for a tax break for employers if they built their own childcare facility on site and managed it. But if they invested in an existing one, they didn't get that childcare credit. The new legislation allowed for if they were to pay into an offsite childcare run by a different facility, they would still get those credits. So that's what that most recent change, if it's been fully adopted, was all about.
Hey, does this, on the far right of the picture on the corner, is that Highway B? No? So it doesn't
No,
go,
that's the end of the highway shop, and kind of that little corner in the upper right hand is
Okay, go ahead.
the Potter's Field up there.
all right. Oh, okay, that's that pond and on the east side of Highway B then. What?
Yeah, I mean that area on the right that you're looking at is the highway building.
Yellow. Yeah.
Or yellow, orange.
Top right corner is Potter's.
Okay, all right.
Highway B is another quarter to a half mile down the road.
Any other questions? So we have a motion to approve the land use. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, so that passes unanimously. 8B is approval of certified survey map for subdivision of county-owned land. Does anyone have any clarifying questions? Otherwise, if someone wants to make a motion. All right, Supervisor Prochnow, do we have a second?
Second.
Supervisor Lyon? Okay, any discussion? Would anyone like to speak to the?
I can start it off and then I will hand it off to our county surveyor, Tom Carlson, who has carried the brunt of the work on this one. So kind of going back to December, this committee had heard from an interested person that was looking to purchase the land immediately adjacent to our government center. Tom will show the maps that he had put together, but in order for us to even consider that, we had the facilities committee give us some guidance. And so you had let us know that you were interested in us pursuing or looking into that further. As part of that, we would need to subdivide the land because right now that specific piece that they were looking at is part of the overall greater lot that the neighbors of Dunn County is currently sitting on. Since that time, that interested buyer has gone a different route. I think they purchased a different facility that was already used for childcare. And so that is no longer in the motion. However, we are still looking to continue to pursue the subdivision of the land so that we can reduce the steps down the road if there were to be another interested buyer and a fit that made sense for this committee to move forward with. So from there, I will hand it off to Tom Carlson, who has spent the last 3-4 months putting together a survey map.
Okay, thank you, Jenna. I'm going to share my screen here, so just bear with me. Let me make this a little bigger, and this should all be, I think Austin passed some handouts around, so what I have here up on the screen should more or less mirror what you have. So, and I've got a laser pointer here, and we'll just kind of go through everything. If you have any questions, feel free to stop me. But so this is the greater, Dunn County campus here. The main government center is kind of over here where my laser pointer is. Of course, the neighbor sits here. So the piece that, we had some interest in would have been on this proposed lot too. A certified survey map was done on all this prior to the neighbors being built because we had to create a more manageable piece of land for that to sit on. So when that was done, this is actually County Trunk Highway OH that completely surrounds the government center here. And County OH used to come down and then it ended up getting realigned. You probably remember that the approach coming into the main parking lot here has some curves in it now. So when they did that, they abandoned a little piece of it here and it actually severed the original CSM into a little piece that's south of this. And we'll get to that in a little bit. So anyway, there's a lot of moving parts here and I'll do my best to explain it. It all makes sense to me, but I realize it may be fuzzy to you. So if you have questions, please ask, okay? So I'm preparing to handle this with 4 parcels. It'd be lot 1. Lot 2 would be the piece here that was identified on Dan's map as for commercial. Lot 3 was another piece identified in the red as commercial. This little leftover piece here, and I have the next page will show a blown up area of that, but that'll have to be designated as an outlot. It's just basically unbuildable, unusable piece of property. It's just a casualty of us moving the road over here, but we do have to account for it. And then there's a service road that was built from Churchill Tire, former Churchill Tire, all the way up to our entrance. That road right in here was not built according to plan. And some of the curb and gutter is actually on county-owned property, the utilities, the fire hydrants. Working with Dave Schofield at the city, we've come up with a plan to fix this area, but again, that's something committee will have to approve. So this is an overall of the different parcels, lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, out lot 1, and then there's a piece being dedicated here. So any questions before I go into greater detail? Because there's a lot more detail. Okay,
So I have a quick question.
Sure.
So lot 1 kind of comes to a point, is that?
so lot 1, I'll follow it with my pointer, comes here down to County OH, around, follows lot 2, then it comes down here, comes along the highway right away for Highway 29, and then back up and around here. So yes, there's a little panhandle here, if you will.
And then it goes to a
And-
point, okay.
And this would be the main entrance, the main blacktop driveway coming up to the stop sign here that goes to the neighbors. So does that make sense? And I've got an air photo under a couple of these. It'll make a lot more sense when you can see the photo. So now this is a blown up area of this lot number 2 from the main map. So you can see it's bounded on the east and on the south by County Trunk Highway OH, on the west by, there's a 104-foot strip of land basically in between here and then across here. So what we ended up doing is just taking the former lot line and just extending it across the road just to keep things simple. So, so lot 2 is 1.85, we might as well say 1.9 acres, just shy of 2 acres here. It's subject to some county trunk highway road right of way. So that would be one of the parcels that we would look at potentially marketing someday. And then here's the outlot that I talked about that was severed because the old county highway used to come down here. So that outlot is very small, 0.24, about a quarter of an acre. So, and I guess at this point, we just retain ownership of it. It's not really marketable, although I suppose somebody may want it someday for some purpose. So in talking with the highway commissioner, one of the considerations when you create a new parcel is access. So where are we going to take access to lot 2? This is very busy right here. All the county employees come in and either go to the main parking lot or go up and park behind the building. So our highway commissioner was not real keen on certainly not putting a driveway here or even on this side. There are some utilities here. There's a buried gas line that we would have to look into, and there's also water. And according to the city, if that water line, and I forget, it's been a while since we talked about that, but if that water line was not at least, I want to say 8 feet deep or 10 feet deep or something, then they wouldn't allow a driveway to go over the top of it because of frost issues. So the most logical place is to have access for lot 2 come through here, the main entrance to the neighbors. But we own this piece of crosshatched. So the plan was we were going to grant an easement, an access easement to lot 2, because their ownership would only extend to the blue lines here. So they would need an easement from the county to come in and access lot 2. So that's why this is on here, ingress, egress, and utility easement, and we'll be dedicating that for the benefit of lot 2 of the CSM. So the easement is located on part of lot 1, which is where the neighbor sits, correct? So the county would still retain ownership under the crosshatched area, but the new owner of lot 2 would be given full rights to use that for ingress, egress, and for utilities.
Clarify the immediate, like, we will still be the owner of lot 2. There is currently no interested buyers. It's not on the market.
Tom, lot 2, the frontage for the top line there, that is the road that passes down to Churchill Tire and past the medical facility.
Nope, I'm gonna move to the next couple slides here where we've got photos underneath. So this should show it much better. Does that make more sense? And let me,
Well, I
Zoom.
guess I'm interested when you're saying that, the road wasn't in exactly the right spot.
that's this area. Let me zoom in even more.
I mean, I want to know, has Dunn County lost property here? Or, did we have a reason? I mean, why is it not right? Easement off of the state highway?
So
Because it seemed really simple at the time when we did it, it seemed really simple that we're just going to run a parallel road to 12 and 29.
Yep. So the county was not involved in the surveying of that. A firm, Robert E. Lee and Associates out of Green Bay, did the surveying. But they prepared a certified survey map, which effectively divided the property, allowing the parcel to be created where Prevea is now. And when they did
Right.
that, there was a street dedication on there, 66 feet wide, paralleling the state highway
Yep.
from Churchill all the way up. And then the county sign is right here.
Yep.
There's a substantial drainage area. There's two large culverts here. The county sign is here for the neighbors. So the road had to bend around that. And I wasn't involved in that, but somebody designed the road to go around here 66 feet in width. And it was dedicated to the city. When that CSM got recorded, title of that street went to the city. So the county no longer owns it. When the street got built, however, I don't know who staked it out, but the street got built too far north, right in this area. It was all built correctly here, and then once you got up in this area, they pushed it farther north, perhaps to go around this area. I don't know, or somebody had the wrong math or the wrong coordinates when they staked it out. But the bottom line is part of the street is not located within the dedicated right of way, the fire hydrants, the water line. So in order to, what I did is I located the physical center line here and designed a curve and a piece of tangent in here and offset it's 33 feet from the center line. Basically did an as-built survey. Where's the road today? I offset it 33 feet, and this hatched area in here represents that. And that's what it was. It's about 600ths of an acre.
Okay, so Dunn County lost 600ths of an acre?
We didn't lose anything, but if we're going to dedicate this to the city to clean up the road, then we would be reducing our holdings out there by 600ths of an acre. If we
Because
decide,
that squeezes the area from the neighbors to where what the culverts are and the road veers to the north there.
Mhm.
Every highway project I've ever been by, there's all kinds of white hats out there and guys with the yellow vests on. And to me, it's a screw up when you can't build a road where it's supposed to be. I'm just sorry to say that, but it's a screw up. And I mean, I'm not blaming our guys. I'm thanking you for finding it. But it's too bad. I mean, just is.
and we don't need to do anything about it. I mean, it's been like this for a while, but my professional opinion is my recommendation is if we're doing some surveying out there, redividing the property, now would be a good time to take care of it and get it cleaned up and just work with the city and let bygones be bygones. But that's not my decision, just my recommendation.
If we did move it, that would probably be taking a lot of taxpayers' money just to deal with that.
Yeah, and again, moving or asking the city to get part of the road off our property, I don't think would be good intergovernmental cooperation.
They can take ours, but we can't get it. Larry's got a bad attitude about property lines. Because it makes us seem weak that we can't seem to keep our cows on the right side of the fence. we just move the fence over if cows keep getting out. Maybe that ain't a good thing, but it's just, I think it should be right. That's all. And I'm glad you found it, because, there are going to be projects, in this county where they're paying, hundreds of thousands of dollars for, an acre, and 6/100ths of an acre is going to be a lot of money. And we had a situation here tonight where two people want to use Dunn County property. And we didn't say, well, just, go divide that up however you think you want it. You divide it up where it's yours and where it's theirs. And okay, enough said. Thank you.
Okay, so continuing on with lot 2 here, there's some other things we need to address. So we already talked about the access. We talked about lot 1. Anybody who's going to develop lot 2 is going to need some type of stormwater and erosion control plan, right? They need to either contain the stormwater on that lot, or they need an easement if they're going to be pushing that stormwater off onto neighboring property. So being that lot is quite small already, it's under 2 acres, depending what's going in there. We do have, there's an existing pond, and I apologize, I'm jumping back and forth between the photo version and so hopefully everybody can see this. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so we can see lot 2 here. So just south of the neighbors, I've got a pointer here, but there's a shallow retention pond here right now that handles our stormwater from the neighbors, and there's more ponds here, right? This one pond doesn't handle all of it, but it handles most of the east side. So in talking with the city and internally with staff, we just feel it's a good idea to create a stormwater easement over that existing pond. So does everybody understand? We own the land under it. The pond is serving us, but it's going to be dual purpose. It will also serve the owner of lot 2, and that easement will be granted to this owner. Now, the pond may have to be increased. Talking with the city, it might not be deep enough, but the general thought is there's enough area there that the pond could be modified to accommodate both our use and the use of lot 2. So that's just another piece of this. Any questions on that? Okay.
How do they figure the size of a pond? By the square footage of the house, or?
I'm not an engineer, but I've heard discussions. I know they look at impervious surfaces. So like your roofs, right? How many square feet is taken up by the roof, the parking lot? Where does the water drain to? And there's all kinds of hydrological calculations that are done way above my area of expertise. I don't know. There's engineers that can calculate all that and determine how big of a pond is needed for a certain storm event. I think they have to engineer for the worst case, right? 100-year storm. And if that happens, is the pond going to be sized properly? So, but that'll all be taken care of through engineering analysis when they develop their building plans for that lot. Because we don't know what's going to go there. It might be a small building. It might be a small building with a huge parking lot, or vice versa. So it just depends. Does that answer your question, Supervisor Square? Yeah. Okay, so then I'm going to jump back up. So we covered those 2 things. There's more. So it's I wouldn't say it's a challenging site, but there's just a lot of things that we have to be mindful of. So what you see on here is another detail. So again, we have lot 2 up here. We have a buried stormwater line. Okay. That if we're gonna, and it runs, this dashed line through the middle here is the stormwater line, and there's an outflow structure here. It just daylights right out here to the bare ground and then runs through a drainage ditch, natural swale all the way over to Red Cedar Street. And I'll bring up a photo and show that. But it Right outside our building here, outside the public health door, there's a couple manholes. That's the beginning of it. And then it runs off kind of towards Prevea that way. So just think about this. If we would sell or deed lot 2 or the lot on this side, and our storm sewer would need to be repaired, we have to dig that up. And in places, it's, 12 feet deep. That's going to take quite an excavation. And now we're going to the owner of lot 2 saying, can we bring some equipment here and dig a great big hole here because we have to repair our line? We're going to want to retain an easement over that line, right? Just to protect our interest. So that has to be accounted for here. Let me. So this kind of shows, everybody can see that. But you can see our parking lot. So this would be the doors right here by public health. So that the line, everything drains through the parking lot into those manholes and then runs down this buried sewer line until it daylights out here and then runs over to Red Cedar Street. So we're going to want to retain an easement over that for our benefit.
How much acreage is that easement? Because I'm guessing they can't build on it. So does that reduce that lot?
Yes, exactly. I don't have that calculated. I mean, I could get that at some point, but yes, to your point, lot 2, the usable area there, when you start taking off the road right of way, and then this easement, yes, it definitely shrinks it down. Not to mention there's city setbacks from lot lines. So usable area of that lot is getting pinched down. Yes. So we're not going to see, say, a quick trip there or something that's going to need more room, but. So that covers it for lot 2. Lot 2 is going to need a drainage easement to the north. It's going to be subject to this stormwater easement and then subject to the road right of ways. So that's one of the parcels we're talking about right now, I guess the main parcel. So any questions on that before I get over to the road dedication and another easement?
Well, you got that pipe running through there and that just goes into a ditch and that runs through a street and that runs into another kind of like a manhole or drainage that goes to where?
Let me just pull up a map here. It'll be a lot easier to show it because the documents I have here don't go out far enough.
Because, you're saying we have to have a retaining pond for this and that and that and this, and there's no retaining pond for the government center. Right?
No, not to my knowledge. So it either infiltrates or goes through that storm sewer. So if we zoom in,
My yard's a retaining pond.
everybody can see this. It gets a little bit hard here, but the main government center, so that the storm sewer would run down to about my cursor where it daylights out, and then it follows a natural drainage swale all the way through. And there's a huge outfall structure here
Okay.
by Red Cedar, and then runs underneath. And from there, I'm not quite sure. I mean, it ends up Jarrett Creek and then out to the lake. So,
The big retaining pond.
yeah,
Okay. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
yes, you're welcome. So that really covers lot 2 here, and then we need to jump across to the other side of the road. Because that area, according to Dan's sketch, was slated for commercial development as well. So that would be lot 3. So Prevea sits on lot 1 down here of CSM 4459. This would be vacant land in here. And so we already talked about cleaning up the service road, dedication there, getting the city utilities and street back on their property. And then the city was also concerned about a drainage easement. So again, this is our main intersection. This is the area we're proposing to dedicate to fix the street. There are two large culverts right here. So there's a large watershed, hundreds of acres, kind of over, goes out as far as Anderson Windows and even east of there. That whole area drains over underneath the highway, right past our sign and through these two culverts, and then up to this other drainage ditch that we just talked about and down to Red Cedar Street. So there's two large culverts here and kind of a, I don't know, you can drive past it and look, but there's some berms here and some shallow ditches. The city would like us to grant them an easement, drainage easement over this area just to maintain that area for the future. So that would be another thing that is up for consideration. And again, all this could be done on this map that's being submitted to the city. One option is we just deal with lot 2 across the road. And we forget about all this other stuff, but it just seems to be very efficient to do all this on one map because it's something we would likely want to take care of in the future. So why not just do it now?
Would lot 3 be able to use that drainage area as well, or would they have to create
Their
a
own-
whole nother one?
Well, they would own the land under it. So
So the easement would be part of lot 3.
the easement is on lot 3. The city would have a right to go in there and make repairs and, their culverts, the ends of the culverts extend beyond the road right of way. They're more than 33 feet from the center line. So in theory, if they had to go in and work on the end of the culvert or the culverts got plugged or something, technically they would need permission from us or whoever owns the lot at the time to get some equipment in there. This easement would allow them right to access that area without permission. They would have, basically, we would be giving them rights to go into that area and maintain it.
I just have a question. So if we submit this to the city as certified maps, do we also have to get them rezoned? Or are they already?
So zoning is a separate issue.
Okay,
Right,
so-
right now, let me go back to the front page
Or
here.
should I not ask that yet?
Well, you can ask it because it definitely will and should come up at some point. Just so many pages here. So, well, actually, I can go on here and turn the zoning on. There's zoning that needs to be, we have to deal with. Not sure why the zoning isn't popping in here, but
Colorful map. there.
the neighbor's property is under a PUD, a planned unit development, and there are certain, I guess, restrictions for lack of a better term. So right now we can divide the property, but it's still going to be subject to that PUD and to the current zoning. And there are plans we would have to modify the PUD, and there are plans to do that as well. But it's kind of it's more or less a concurrent process, but we can divide the property without dealing with the PUD or zoning. It's just, right now, it's my understanding lot 2 cannot be developed for anything. It's set aside as green space in this PUD. So until we would modify the PUD and rezone it into something, say a daycare wanted to go in there, it would have to be rezoned. I think it was to some type of a commercial district to allow for that permitted use. Right now, no business could go on there. It's just basically set aside land in that PUD.
Residential with a PUD.
So I guess what we're looking for is direction to move forward with this. The next steps would be submitting this to the city. And they have a plan commission and a full city council. So the plan commission makes recommendations to that council. The next city plan commission meeting, according to my notes, will be March 30th. And correspondence from Dave Schofield at the city most recently, a few days ago, said that he would need materials submitted to him no later than Monday, March 16th, which I can certainly meet that deadline. But at this point, we're looking for direction to move forward. We've got enough here to talk about and get started, but there is some more work that'll have to be done to bring this to fruition and get the documents in final form for submission. There will be a fee that is due to the city as well, because they review this and they charge a fee for that. So
I can add to that too, there is a resolution included in the packet that does request for us to move forward with submitting the CSM that Tom presented with the dedication of that 600th of an acre to for the city service for the issue with the service road, as well as the easements so as presented, this is what that resolution would be going to the county board as. So if there were concerns with any elements of what Tom presented, there would need to be an amendment to this resolution.
I've lost track. Did we already have a motion before we
Yes.
started discussion? Right?
Yes.
To approve the resolution,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I moved, you seconded.
Okay.
No, other way around.
To get
Oh.
to, so we can talk about it.
I wrote it down.
Okay, you wrote it down as well, so need to write this down. All right, so we do have a motion to approve as submitted.
Mhm.
Any further discussion?
0.06 acres of land.
Oh, what's it, where is it? Point?
Not much, I don't think.
No,
It's this thing.
what's the
I'll
point?
go with it.
Can they waive the fee?
Yes.
Yeah, can they waive the fee for submitting this for the land? I suppose that's not part of this resolution. Yeah.
Having covered plan commission meetings for years, I actually understand all this stuff. At least a lot of it, and the whole necessity for a well-written easement. And this looks, as far as I'm concerned, it looks good.
Any other thoughts?
I just want to say thanks, Tom, for doing all this, because it really needs to get done and cleaned up and to put all those things in there so it's protected somewhat. So I just want to say thanks for everything that you look into in the future and blah, 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 the situation. So just want to say thanks.
All right, so all in favor to approve the certified survey maps?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so that passes. All right, so we will move on to 8C. Approval of the TDS utility easement agreement.
Goodness gracious.
Oh, we have. All right.
Maybe I can start it off too, if you like.
All right, yeah, if you would like to,
That much start.
you have the map.
So yes, my name's April Landy. I'm the Assistant Corporation Counsel here for the county. The county was contacted by TDS Telecommunications to bury fiber optic lines on county property. They want to bury those lines parallel to a pedestrian path that the city of Menominee has actually an easement over our property for as well. So what I did and what I'm proposing is an easement as well as an appendix and accompanying agreement that's in the packet. And the goal of this is to accomplish basically granting them that easement to bury those lines. If the committee agrees with what I've proposed in the packet, what we do is I would go back to TDS and see if they agree. Ultimately, we're still kind of in that negotiating process here with them a bit. provided they agreed and didn't want to change anything, I would present it to the board as a resolution. If they did make any changes, we'd bring it back here to this committee and notify you of those changes. To highlight a few things, I will highlight the $1,000 that I propose that TDS pay for the easement. That's coming, quite frankly, out of the fact that that's the authority I was told that they have. So that maybe there's some negotiation there. I don't know, but that was what they told me they could reasonably pay us for that. A lot of the language in the agreement itself is based on information TDS provided to facilities. And so just kind of codifying that more formally than kind of this PowerPoint presentation they had presented to the county. So I guess ultimately what I'm looking for is a motion for us to be able to present this easement with the appendix and accompanying agreement to TDS, and if approved, present that to the board with a resolution. And if there's any questions, I'm certainly happy to answer what I can, or maybe Austin, I know he's been pivotal, excuse me, in this as well. So he may have some information as well.
I have a question. Looking at this map, I'm assuming that all of the dotted lines are where they're going to be putting in these lines. I think I know kind of where this is, but can somebody please clarify?
Maybe Tom want to jump in? Maybe you can help us with that a little bit. He
So-
helped with the legal.
So I have this up on the screen. So everybody should know where the I-94 bridge is. So on the east side of the bridge, there's a trail, right, that connects from one side of the lake to the other. So this easement description actually starts right here and comes down the trail all the way along until to our property line, which is right here. Once you get beyond this, then 3M owns the property. So the easement would run, basically just the description goes down the center line of this trail all the way to our east property line, which is about here.
It's 1,587 feet or so. And what the white line shows in all of these, mostly our parcel is parcel 8 in that picture. But all of the dotted white line is the rest of their fiber optic on the city's land, on 3M's land. This is pretty much connecting some of their main lines from Stokey Parkway and I-94 altogether. But really the only thing that affects us is the little bit of 7 and 8 in that last picture.
Running a line parallel with 94 then?
Well, the pedestrian trail, which is close, right? But it's that trail right there. And one of the things we really wanted to be careful of in that agreement was making sure that they did not go under that trail, or if they did have to go under at any point, that it wouldn't cause any damage to the trail.
Did they say which side, or is it they're gonna go next to?
North of the trail.
So north of the trail, okay. So they're not gonna hit the park at all. It'll just be on the other side, okay.
Are we talking about what Dunn County is expecting in payment for running parallel with this trail, or what are we talking about?
That $1,000, yep, the understanding would be they'd pay us $1,000 to be able to bury those, get that easement to bury parallel to the trail.
So is that a figure that's consistent with other projects? Or they're just looking at the goodness of Dunn County and saying, well, just give us 1,000 and everything will be fine?
You know, I can't speak to what other people have paid for an easement. Like I said, I know that that's what they were able to negotiate based on what was indicated to me. I think it seems reasonable, but that's just based on kind of my own personal experience, but I can't tell you what other places are
So-
paying for easements.
The city,
The next property to the south is 3M, of course. And then once it exits the 3M property, we're back on Dunn County, right?
No,
No? Where, after it goes through the 3M property, where does it go after that?
I'm being told the city.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So we don't know what the city's getting paid either.
Well, speaking to the city, it's, that's, the lineal footage of that equates to around $400 plus their application fee, which I thought was around $85. So it's somewhat relative to what the city's charging.
Well, I can't see any reason not to do it. I was just wanting to know if we were being generous again.
Well, I was on a church council one time up at the Hay River Lutheran Church, and the gas company asked us if they may have an easement for their gas line to go underneath the parking lot. And they didn't offer no money, and there's a gas line underneath that parking lot now.
Yeah, but Ron, you.
Yeah, but $1,000 is $1,000. We could have used that back then, you know?
Just fold that, it'd be 2,000.
Yeah.
I would second that.
I'm not part of the committee, but I just need to ask a question. And maybe I'm out of line here, but I wouldn't sleep with myself tonight if I didn't ask this. I'm reading the description. It says a strip of land 5 feet in width. Over and across government law too, and I know April and I had worked on this and they were gonna get back to you on
That's what,
how wide of a piece.
that's what they said they needed. So that's where that was coming from. Yep.
Okay.
And I spoke, well, emailed with TDS.
So I'm reading this. I'm a very technical person, right? The description that we're using is the center line of this trail. That trail I know for a fact is 8 to 10 feet wide of paving. I know it is, it's 10 feet wide out in front of our building, and I would assume it's about 10 feet wide in that area. It's blacktopped. So if we're describing the center line and we're saying now it's a strip of land 5 feet in width, lying north of, adjacent and parallel to the center line of that easement, that basically gives them the north half of the paving. And they aren't,
Should we amend?
I-
Do north
I'm
5
thinking,
feet from the north line of the pedestrian line?
well, I'm just saying, if you're asking me as a surveyor to go lay this out, I'm gonna put paint right down the middle of that trail, and then I'm gonna pull 5 feet to the north, and I'm gonna be right on the edge of the blacktop. And now their line has to go in the north half of that 10-foot wide paved trail. I think maybe what they were looking at is, hey, we need a 5-foot strip piggybacked on top of the blacktop. And if that's the case, then we should be going 10 in my mind. Does everybody follow that? I mean, I don't want to put a wrench in everything here, but as I read this, if they're intending for a 5-foot strip to piggyback the blacktop, we're describing the center line, so then they would need a 10-foot strip. So
I think the thinking was 5 feet
we need a 5-foot strip off the blacktop.
blacktop, but the way
But
that's
that would be
worded,
10 feet from the center
yeah, the way
line,
that's worded, you're right.
right? I just wanted everybody to be aware of that.
I would not be opposed to amending that to say 10 feet, if everybody is in agreement with that. Who wants to make a motion to that fact?
Or the first 5 feet over the.
Well, we need a described line and the easiest was to use the center line of the trail because it was already described in a previous document.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we need an amendment to the?
So my understanding is that we make it 10 feet, so that means that 5 feet on the long side of the trail is what they can, or their easement would be.
I mean, technically, the easement would extend into down to the center line too, but we would hope they're not gonna bury their line or dig up our blacktop.
Which.
And that was in the
Yep,
conditions.
the agreement does account for that.
And I apologize for not reading I mean, I worked with April on this a few weeks ago and drafted it and said, we need a dimension from them, put it in, and as I'm looking at it now, it's like, whoa, wait a minute, something just seems off to me.
Thank you for clarifying that. Otherwise, there it goes, the pavement.
And nobody would have known otherwise. I mean, they read the document and they're gonna put the line in, but I guess if we want it to be right, we should,
Not to do it, so.
yeah.
You want an amendment?
So we need to-
Sure.
I move that we make amendment to the easement agreement to 10 feet from the center line instead of 5.
For a second.
I'd second that.
Okay, Supervisor Bjork. All right, any other discussion? All right, so we'll vote on the amendment to the motion to make it 10 feet in width. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, so that, the amendment, so now we'll go back to the motion with the amendment of the 10 feet. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, so that passes unanimously.
Mhm.
All right, thank you. So this may come back if they don't agree to
It-
something.
If they make any change, I mean, as much as a comma, I'll bring it back.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So then 8D is approval of the 2025 capital carry forward. Is there any clarifying questions? Would anyone like to make a motion? To approve?
I move that we approve the carry forwards for budget.
Supervisor Prochnow, is there a second?
I'll second.
Supervisor Lyon? Okay, do you want to speak to this at all, Austin, or?
Mostly
Yeah,
just
yeah.
reiterating what I talked about in my report earlier. I don't think there's anything that I didn't mention in there other than, the fair, few items to carry forward is, the MAP money had to get deposited into the county's account to shore everything up. That needs to go into another non-lapsing account of its own, that was yet to be built when we had to do the rest of this. So that's that amount, as well as a $2,000 donation. That had to happen in 2025. So a couple things a little different than our normal carry forward requests that we have, but kind of earmarked money that we're requesting to move into the correct spots for 2026. That's about it.
Is there the $25,000 for the demolition? So that looks like it's in question, or we
Yeah,
need to decide.
that sounds a confusing one that I don't necessarily know the answer on. So that was all I was looking for some clarification on. We allocate 25,000 each year to go towards eventual demolition of that boiler. So, of the old boiler smokestack in the back. So, I don't know when that comes to fruition off the top of my head.
You have enough to tear it down.
Right. It's increasing
Right.
every year, it seems.
So does your motion include all of it? So 106, okay. Wanted to ask before. Any other questions? All right, so we have a motion to approve 106,770 budget carry forwards. So all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, so passes unanimously. All right, so our next meeting is Wednesday, March 25th at 5 PM. We can 6:50, we can adjourn. Made it under 2 hours. I wasn't sure.